Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal Journals, only here on Black Mask Paranormal. Now, as you can see, I made some upgrades in the studio. Channel's picking up quite a bit. Things are going great, and I'm really excited to continue these adventures. Now, this episode is going to be an introduction on my series, The Feral People. Now, as many of you all know, over the past several weeks, I have been going on expedition after expedition after expedition. I had spent years trying to determine where I thought the feral people would have for the best chance of survival. Now, I have narrowed it down to several different locations, and as I'm moving through these locations, the evidence that you all are going to see is pretty freaking amazing. Now, I'm playing this really tight to my chest. I'm not sharing any of my evidence with anybody whatsoever. Nobody knows what I'm doing. Nobody knows what I have captured so far. Now, I want to take a step back and I want to talk about a story that I've addressed before on this channel, and that's the Michael Heron story. Now, Michael Heron in 2008, he just completely vanished. Nobody knows what happened to him. Nobody knows what was involved. Michael one day decided he was going to take his four-wheeler out for a ride up in Happy Valley, Tennessee, and he never came back. Now, they found the four-wheeler, and what's important to note, with the four-wheeler, there was no sign of struggle. There was no blood. There was nothing. It was like he was riding the four-wheeler at full speed and then just absolutely vanished off the face of the earth. Now, I have been in this area on multiple occasions, and I have found some really interesting stuff. Now, we know that there are black bears there. We know that there are coyotes there. We know there's a lot of dangerous animals just in that general vicinity. Now, I had an encounter when I decided that I was going to go back to a diner that me and my father used to go to that really kind of changed my perspective on how I see the feral people and what this old lady called the demon men. So several weeks ago, I was missing my father and decided that I was going to go to a diner that me and my dad used to go to for lunch. When I walked into this diner, I see this elderly man and his wife. He's wearing the Army veteran hat, and for you all know I'm a veteran as well. So I offered to buy this guy and his wife a piece of pie, just to kind of, show my appreciation. Granted, I was probably feeling kind of lonely and didn't really know where my head was at that point because I hadn't been in this diner for a while. And they gladly accepted. Now, I'm going to leave their names out of it because they're elderly. They've lived in Tennessee all their life, and they don't need to be bombarded by, the news or whatever it is. So as we were sitting there talking, we sat there for a good 30 minutes, talking about the military, how the world has changed, and the way, people are different nowadays. And we ended up at the topic of what I do, which is go look for scary things in the woods, And as I was sitting there talking to this couple, their demeanor really kind of changed. The man was very kind of standoffish, and then the elderly lady wanted answers, So she told me that in the area where Michael Heron disappeared, And this is, you know, close to the Cades Cove area, Rowan's Creek. But she gave me a new location that I have been investigating. She said that recently, within a month of this conversation, that a group of individuals that she called the Demon Men came out of the tunnels from the mountains and were raiding her niece's chickens and farm animals. They were coming in, they were killing them and taking them. She said that her niece even took a couple shots at him with a shotgun. Now, she said she was shooting bird shot, so that's not necessarily fatal. So there's a very high chance that whatever she shot, it was just, having a bad day. She said that these men are living in this tunnel system that goes throughout the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. Now, the Happy Valley is just kind of on the side of the Smokies. So this area is very like on the line. Now, for safety purposes, I'm not going to give you the exact location quite yet. Once I release the video, I will release the exact location where this occurred. Now, she claimed that these men have been using the tunnels to move throughout the Smokies, for decades, for possibly over a century. What's really interesting is that recently, within the last several years, a discovery was made on the kind of other side of the Smoky Mountains National Park, more towards the Gatlinburg area. What they discovered there was a massive network of underground tunnels. Now, the park claims that this tunnel system was used by moonshiners. However, they don't have any evidence really suggesting that moonshiners used these tunnel systems. Now, do I think that the moonshiners possibly could have used them? Absolutely. Moonshiners are, experts at getting in and out of locations. So a massive tunnel system for them is kind of like a gold mine because, when you're running shine, that's the one thing that you're looking out for is, the law. And if you can move from one side of the mountain to the other side of the mountain without being on the surface, that's a game changer. That's how you make some money. Now I could see it in her eyes how terrified she was when she started talking about these demon men. Now, if you've lived in Appalachia, the majority of natives know about the people who live in the woods. Now, there's a very, in my opinion, huge misconception with this. Now, do we have people living off the grid in the mountains? Yeah, we do. Are those feral people? No, they're not. Those are like survivalists. The people that are causing violence to other people that live in these mountainous ranges, they are completely different than those who got tired of the city life and decided that they just wanted to go away. Now, we have people that, are running from the law, that are living in the mountains. I think Hulu just did some sort of documentary on it. I don't know where it was. It might have been out west, but it was talking about a killer living in the mountains. But anyway, so I want to make sure that everybody on this channel is clear on who we are talking about. We are not talking about the survivalists. We're not talking about the people avoiding the law. We're not talking about moonshiners. We are talking about basically a different species of human that lives within the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And I believe that they have been there for over a century. Now, as I'm going through this story, I am picking up little details that really kind of that can really cause this to make sense. Now, if you all remember back at my toxic video that I made, I believe that I was close to one of these tunnels, because if anybody who knows geology and knows our cave systems knows that within tunnels underground, different gases can get trapped and gather and cause a toxic environment. Now, I believe that that video that I had went up on the side of the mountain, I think I was exposed to some sort of toxic gas. This area is pretty close to there. If there would be a tunnel system, it would run through there. So in my opinion, I believe that there is definitely a tunnel system running from one side of the Smoky Mountain National Park to the other. Now, back to the lady. Now, both her and her husband were Appalachian natives. They talked about the people who lived in the woods. They know as well that these individuals are not just your average survivalist trying to live off the grid. That's not how the culture is in East Tennessee. That's not how it's ever been. Now, we have our people that have gone in, they've claimed their land. They don't want you on their land, and they will kill you if you come on their land. That's a very real possibility, but these individuals are something that are completely different. And as we were discussing this, they finally realized that I had heard the stories as well that talked about the different people that were living in the mountains. With this new information, it really kind of gives a lot of credit, in my opinion, to the stories over the years that have come out about these feral people. It can be extremely difficult to determine where these locations are because they're so random. Now, us as investigators, as you know, just the random outdoorsmen, we are in a way strictly confined to certain areas. You know, the Park Service creates roads that feed us in one direction. The trail system feeds us in one direction. So there's plenty of areas where these individuals could be coming in and out of the ground. Now, and this is what makes it even crazier to me. Okay, if you look back to my feral investigation that I did with John, that area, I feel like I recorded on thermal what looked to be a man crouching. John was above him, I was below him, he was literally right in between us. The trail went up like this and down. It was a total Z cut. So the only way that this guy could have gone would have been left away from both of us. But then that turned that corner just a little bit, and we would have seen him as he came around. But at the same time, he disappeared. It was like he was there and then he was gone. And I could not figure it out. And it still bothers me to this day. But even during that time, John pointed out that there was coal on the ground. So there's a possibility of coal mines already being there. So, you know, this really has been like a dog chasing its tail. However, some of the evidence that I've found so far really disproves it. I really believe that I'm close to a major discovery. I don't know if I'll be able to keep it completely silent. Some of the evidence that I have captured already really kind of makes it very definitive that there is somebody living out and hunting in those mountains. Just a matter of who it is. I've got game cams running. I've had now game cams running for almost 3 months in the Happy Valley area. So I'm hoping to be able to capture something there. I'm going to be recovering those very soon. So those will be on my members channel. I didn't think about it getting cold. And I crossed the river to get those, to set those cameras up. And the other way around is like an 8-mile loop. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I might get me some waders and just cross the river and make it a shortcut. But, you know, obviously getting in an icy river in December is not a good idea with hypothermia and all, but I think I can do it. If not, y'all will never know. But anyway, I want to say thank you all so much for subscribing. Thank you all for supporting the channel. If you're new, please hit that subscribe button. Definitely give this video a like. It helps with the algorithm. Y'all are going to be seeing some new quality changes coming up with the channel. Things are going to be getting a lot cooler, a lot more interesting. And yeah.